recruit 50 million youths into the army and take away from their recruitment source. What they will eat? Cassava, agbado, corn in the morning, yam in the afternoon. It's growing here. You create demand and consumption. For over 5 million army of boot camps. Don't call them illiterate. Don't talk about illiteracy. Anybody who can own gun, who can handle gun, who can cock gun and clean the chamber and cock and shoot is technically competent to repair a tractor in the farm.
I have worked with His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi in Onitsha about 17 years ago as a commanding officer. Before he came to Onitsha to take over from Dr. Chris Ngige, during the time of Chris Ngige, there was no Operation Mesa in the whole of Anambra State, for reasons best known to them then. But when he came, he took over. He drove straight to the barrack and asked. And when we briefed him, he now went back and Operation Mesa was restored a week later or thereabout. As at that time, it was like a no man's land in Onitsha. 3-3 you cannot go, Ogbaru you cannot go. Then talk less of the other areas. When it was restored, I was the officer in charge of the internal security operations. I was collocated with artillery regiment, but as a commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel, I was in charge of the operations. Believe me, within 2 weeks or thereabout, everything was tackled. Onitsha became free. You couldn't go out. The police was sacked. And that was why I believe that after about 6 months to 1 year, the police actually acknowledged that Anambra was the most peaceful state in the country as at that time. So that was where I knew him. And I saw the character of integrity. In short, for me, I was calling him Commissioner of Defense because he was in command and in control. He had the interest. And I said, this man, he does not allow the resources that comes to the military or whatever to exude to pass through anybody's street. Our challenge was patrol vehicles, no mobility. In a sweep, when he said, what is the problem? He provided it immediately. Following his record from research, never convicted of corruption, of stealing, integrity. Is it reaching to people? Is it international relations and all whatever, economic knowledge and all that? Competence, capability, and before long I saw him trotting almost all over the whole. You will see him short at a point. I say, is this man a spirit? Somebody else will say, is this man a spirit? You will see he's in Port Harcourt today. Before you know, they say he's somewhere. I'm all that. And I prayed and I made up my mind. This is somebody that we need at this time.
Good. But his case will be worse if APC is voted. Because the man who is running now for APC does not even know half of what Buhari knows about government or national security.
What happened in Benue State is no longer news. It is a very sad story and my heart goes to the people of Benue State. I pray that they have the heart, the strength to bear the loss. And I really pray that such things stop happening in Nigeria. Human lives matter. Honestly, the authorities have to try and do something to stop these things from happening in any part of Nigeria. Human lives are important. Human lives are sacred. And for whatever reason, we shouldn't be losing human lives in Nigeria to insecurity. It has to stop. So having said that, as I was just thinking about the whole thing, I was thinking about Tinubu, I was thinking about, okay, so why is it that this insecurity has not even stopped? Why is it that it seems to even be increasing even under this administration? So, and it just dawned on me that Tinubu doesn't actually have the security experience when you compare him with Peter Obi. Honestly speaking, the thought just came and I began to think about it. Because when you look at Tinubu as Lagos State Governor, he didn't really face any security challenge that you could say that he had to devise resources and intelligence to be able to tackle. There wasn't. Lagos is a metropolitan city. Everything seems to be working well and everything, was okay. He didn't have any of such experience of insecurity that he used his tactics or his understanding to be able to solve. Compare him to Peter Obi. It is a known fact that when Peter Obi came to Anambra, one of the major issues that Anambra was facing was insecurity. Onitsha was a no-go area. Everybody knows about Opiweka, Tre, Ogbaru. We can mention almost everywhere in Anambra, kidnapping was rampant. It was just terrible. So this man, being Peter Obi, saw insecurity, tackled insecurity, and so has been testified by that Army General, General Enenche retired. So when you compare the two, you notice that security-wise, Peter Obi is far more experienced. Tinubu doesn't have the experience. So you see, when we talk about the elections have consequences, honestly speaking, I didn't even plan to make this video, but as I was just thinking about the Benue stuff, thinking about, why is it that this thing has not been solved? So it just dawned on me that the man in Aso Rock doesn't have such experience. He hasn't dealt with, complex security situation before. When you compare him with Peter Obi, who had dealt with serious security issues, and he was able to solve it such that while he was leaving Anambra in 2014, the Inspector General of Police, as at that time, declared that Anambra was the safest state in Nigeria. In fact, some kidnappers were running away from Anambra to Lagos. Someone like Evans, it is on record that he ran from Anambra because of Peter Obi's fierce security conditions that he put in place. So the thought just came, this man doesn't have the experience. So, and that is when we talk about you can't give what you don't have. This is a typical of them. I know some people will be saying that it is the security chiefs that are doing their jobs and the generals and the heads of military and all of those things. This is where you make mistake. The commander-in-chief determines a lot of things. That is what is called, that is a political will in solving insecurity. There's a political will. And that political will is even more important than whatever weapon and whatever security architecture you may have. If you have all that it takes, you have the equipment, you have experienced soldiers, experienced personnel, but you don't have the commander-in-chief that has the political will to give orders, to give directives, to ensure that things are done. Things will not be done. That is why he is called the commander-in-chief. You listen to General Enenche, he said that Peter Obi was in command and in control. That was his word, meaning that as the chief security officer of Anambra State, Peter Obi was in charge. He was in control. He knew what was going on. He wasn't saying the military, they are doing their job, the police commissioner, they are doing their job. No, he was in command and in control. You listen to the army general. That was what he said. So, and that is for some people who may be saying that Tinubu is not the general, or Tinubu is not the inspector general of police, neither is he the army chief, the chief of army staff, or he's not the chief of naval staff. No, he doesn't have to be. He doesn't. But the political will is what is really, really needed more than some of those things you are mentioning. Come to think about it, even when foreign countries, they send their troops abroad, and even when all these advanced countries, they are sending their elite troops, like when Barack Obama went to take down the Al-Qaeda leader, it was him that gave the order. It wasn't the general. If Barack Obama said, don't go or don't take down Osama, they won't. So the generals will just be handicapped. So I want you to understand the importance of commander-in-chief. So it is not the chief of army staff them that are the issue. Once you have a commander-in-chief who lacks the experience, who lacks the willpower, you will not solve insecurity. And it's a problem. But I really pray that the insecurity is solved. Honestly speaking, I do, because this has to do with human lives. But I'm just bringing out a fact that this man, when you compare him with Peter Obi, he doesn't have the experience. I still sympathize with the people of Benue State. I pray that the people of Benue, those who lost their relatives, they have the heart to really endure. It is not a very easy task. I mean, it is not a very easy something, but what do we do? It has happened. My only prayer again is that it stops. I call on the commander-in-chief to really do something and let him have the political will to really act and stop the killings. Thank you so much, and God bless you.